An entitled passenger of a plane demanded that we should let him stuff a box of pizza into an overhead compartment. Here's the story. Just as the door is about to close, a big, sweaty man runs on to claim the empty seat. He had a full-size pizza box in his hands. Even though all of the overhead bins were already closed, he still opened them to look for a place to put his pizza. The flight attendant told him nicely that he could not put his pizza in the overhead bin, but someone will step on it. He tells her in a rude way. She then told him to sit down and put the pizza on the table in front of him. He told her that he always flies with pizza and has never been treated like this before. He did not give up, but when their argument got really heated, he put the pizza under the seat in front of him and sat down. Now that the flight attendants have started the safety video demonstration, he takes out his flip phone and makes a call. I can see that he is going through the menus, so I think he is complaining to Delta. Nope, it was not his cell phone. It was his landline phone company. He had paid his bill late, so he was trying to get them to not charge him a late fee. They did not do it. He is arguing with them. At this point, the plane has left the gate and is heading toward the runway. The stewardess tells him to put his phone away right now. He waves his hand to say, "Wait a minute." "No, sir, you have to put it away right now." In the middle of his sentence, he flips it shut and puts it in his pocket. The flight attendant is back at the front of the plane. He decides to stretch after that. I am pretty much stuck to the wall, trying not to get in his way as he moves his arms up, then to the side, etc., and then twists back and forth in his seat, which shows he is upset. He then raises his arms, spreads his fingers, and cracks his knuckles very expressively one at a time, kind of like a first-grade bully would do before kicking you in the behind on the playground. During the whole time he cracks his knuckles, he gives the flight attendant the middle finger. I did not notice how she reacted because I was just ready to get on this 6-hour flight and be done with it. We finally take off. We are now flying over the ocean. There is no conversation from anyone. I am listening to my iPod. Then, I hear a sound that sounds like a jet engine revving up. It is loud, echoing, and goes on for several minutes. I look around to see if there is any problem. No one else seems bothered by it. A flight attendant comes down the aisle, looks out the window, and says, "Oh, we're starting our descent into Atlanta." I wonder why it took so long to start the engines. Maybe they were going to start them when we landed in Minneapolis. I remember that this plane was supposed to stop in Minneapolis for refueling before heading to Atlanta. What's going on here? The stewardesses inform us that we are having some turbulence. They tell us that it should only last 5 or 10 minutes. 5 or 10 minutes later, still no sign of the turbulence ending. I decide to go to the bathroom. I'm the second person to leave the plane during this period. As soon as I enter the restroom, I hear a commotion outside. A guy is yelling and screaming at a flight attendant, "You better get me another drink. I want to be served." They argue back and forth, but I don't know what's happening. I come out of the bathroom and see the guy again. He is angry. He is standing in the aisle and pounding his fists on the seat backs in front of him while yelling at the flight attendant. "I asked you for a Bloody Mary, and you told me to sit down." A flight attendant comes down the aisle, sees the guy, and quickly walks over to him. They start talking. The guy gets madder and angrier. Then, he starts yelling, "I want to talk to your supervisor." I couldn't believe it. This guy wants to talk to a supervisor. Did he miss something? Does he not understand the concept of an airplane? He starts banging his fists on the seats again, then turns to the passengers and yells, "Do you guys have anything to drink?" One of the passengers holds up his water bottle, and the guy asks him, "Are you drinking this?" "Yes," the passenger replies. "Then why are you holding it up?" Everyone laughs, including the guy with the water bottle. He puts it away and sits down. The supervisor comes down the aisle, and the guy immediately stops yelling. He apologizes to the flight attendant. It is now time to begin the landing procedures. I can see that the sun is setting over the Atlantic Ocean. We are flying right towards the sunset. I love these sunsets and sunrises. As we descend, the turbulence gets worse and lasts longer than ever. We get to the ground, and I start looking for my connecting flight to San Francisco. I take a look at the departure monitor. I am getting off the plane. I didn't want to get on this plane in the first place. I walk out of the terminal and find the Delta check-in counter. I am greeted by 2 female airport employees wearing headsets. One of them tells me that my flight to San Francisco has been delayed indefinitely. The other employee tells me that they will make sure to let me know when it gets rescheduled. I ask her if there is anything they can do for me. She says that they don't have anything to do with the flights, so she cannot help me. I try to ask her where I can wait. She tells me that I need to go through security. I tell her that I have already cleared security in Minneapolis, so I don't need to go through security again. I ask her if she can call someone who might be able to help me, and she points to a phone on the desk next to her. I use it to make a call to Delta customer service. The woman answers the phone and tells me that she is going to transfer me to a supervisor. I am waiting on hold for a while. After about 20 minutes, I hang up. I am now wondering how I am supposed to get to San Francisco. My flight to Hawaii was canceled because of bad weather, so I am not flying until tomorrow. If I take a different flight, I will end up being stranded somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. I don't know what I am going to do. On my way to the gate, I see a flight attendant working on her computer. I ask her if she knows what I can do about getting to San Francisco. She asks me if I had taken a flight to Hawaii. When I say yes, she tells me that she is sorry, but I won't be able to fly to San Francisco. I am stuck on an island in the middle of nowhere. I tell her that there must be a way to get me to San Francisco. She tells me that she doesn't know, but she will ask someone who does. An hour later, she comes back to check on me. Someone has given her the information I needed, and she is booking me on a flight to San Francisco tomorrow morning. The ticket agent tells me that the flight will cost $1,100. I don't even bother asking how I am supposed to pay for it. I thank the lady profusely. My plan is to stay at the airport overnight, catch a flight to Hawaii tomorrow, and get on a flight to San Francisco tomorrow night. That way, I will avoid the trouble of missing my connection in Minneapolis. I start walking to the security checkpoint. As I walk towards the exit, I turn around to look at the departure monitor one more time. The screen shows that my flight to San Francisco has been canceled. I am not getting to San Francisco today. I am standing in the security line. The lady checking my boarding pass and ID checks my bag. "Your luggage is overweight by 2 pounds, she tells me. She opens the suitcase that I have checked to see if there is anything inside that weighs less than 2 pounds. The only thing she finds is my iPad. I show her the weight on the side of my suitcase and explain to her that the weight came from the airline when I bought my tickets. "Is this your bag?" she asks me. She looks at me suspiciously and asks, "Why did you bring an iPad? You didn't buy an iPad with you." I tell her that I brought it along with me so that I could work on a paper for school while flying. I have not used it once so far. I don't care if it is overweight. I just want to get on this plane and go home. The agent tells me that I have to take out all of the stuff in my suitcase and repack it. I protest, telling her that I have already gone through security in Minneapolis, so I don't need to go through security again. She tells me that she needs to see everything I have in my suitcase. I tell her that I don't mind, but I don't have time to go through security again. She does not budge. She tells me that I have to open every single item in my suitcase. I take out my toiletries and put them in the plastic tubs that they come in. Then I take out the clothes that are packed in the suitcase. She keeps opening and closing each individual item in my suitcase. Every few seconds, she stops and looks at me to see if I have anything else. All I have is a laptop, a backpack, and a pair of shoes. Finally, she tells me that I can keep the toiletries and shoes, but I have to take out the rest of the items and put them in the plastic bins. I comply. I feel as if I am being treated as if I am a terrorist. I am just trying to get to San Francisco. I am tired of dealing with this. I am ready to get out of here. I am ready to get on this plane and get to San Francisco. I don't want to hear one more word from this woman. I don't want to be here anymore. She finishes checking my bags. She hands them back to me. I grab my backpack and walk to the gate. As I am leaving, the agent calls out to me, "Sir, I just wanted to let you know that your bag is overweight again." I tell her that I'll deal with it on the other end. I am standing in line at the gate. An announcement comes over the intercom informing us that the plane has been delayed. It is now going to depart at 11:30 p.m. I am frustrated. There are people standing in front of me in line. They start talking to me. I don't know what they are saying, but I pick up that they are asking me questions. I answer them. They ask me if I have heard that there was a bomb threat at the airport earlier today. I tell them that I haven't heard anything about that. They tell me that they heard that the FBI is searching for a man who made the bomb threat. They are giving me details about the incident, which I don't really want to hear. I am simply trying to get on this plane and get out of here. I don't want to hear about this, and I don't want to think about it. I am getting irritated just standing in line. I decide to move to the front of the line. I walk up to a gentleman behind the counter. I tell him that I need to be upgraded to business class. He tells me that he is sorry, but their computers aren't working. He tells me that he can upgrade me for a fee. I tell him that I'm not interested. He tells me that he understands, but he can help me anyway. He offers me a voucher for a free ticket to any destination in the world. He tells me that I can redeem it as soon as I find a flight. I refuse to accept the voucher. I ask him if he is sure that he can't upgrade me to business class. He assures me that he cannot. I tell him that I don't want to waste his time. I tell him that I don't want to deal with this anymore. I tell him that I am ready to get on this plane and get to San Francisco. He tells me that he understands. He hands me my boarding pass and tells me to have a nice trip. I leave the gate area and head towards the security checkpoint again. I am at the end of the security line. There are only 5 people ahead of me. I am getting annoyed. I am ready to go home. I am tired of dealing with this. I just want to get on this plane and get out of here. Suddenly, I hear someone yelling from behind me. It's the same female agent from before. She has been yelling at some passengers in line. Now, she is shouting at the top of her lungs. I don't know what she is saying, but I recognize her voice. I turn around to see what's going on. She is yelling at a couple of young men who are arguing with her. One of them is trying to defend himself. I can see that she is angry with him. She tells him that she is just following orders. After a minute, she calms down and lets the 2 guys go through security. They walk away from her. The woman turns her attention back to me. This time, she is checking the boarding pass and ID of another passenger. The flight attendants prepare the cabin for takeoff. They close the windows, put up the safety belts, and lock the lavatory doors. The captain announces that we are preparing for takeoff. He reminds us that there will be turbulence and that it may get worse before it gets better. We wait for clearance from air traffic control. After a minute or so, the captain receives it and starts the engines. A warning alarm goes off, letting us know that we are about to take off. I stand up and look out the window. The plane is moving slowly on the runway. The captain pushes the throttle forward, and the plane accelerates. We accelerate rapidly. The plane quickly gains speed. We are climbing into the sky. In a few moments, we will clear the trees on the ground below. The wheels touch down gently on the tarmac. I look out the window. The sun is setting in the west. It is almost dark. As we taxi to our gate, I look out the window at the airport. I see cars driving along the road and people walking around outside. I am amazed that I am finally on my way home. I am looking forward to being back in my own bed. We stop at our gate. I disembark from the plane and walk towards the customs booth. 2 agents stand at the entrance. They are checking passports and IDs of the passengers who are exiting the plane. I hand my passport to one of the agents and get my stamp. The agent tells me that I am free to go. I walk away from the security checkpoint and get on an escalator leading up to the concourse. I am happy to be back home after a long day. I walk towards the baggage claim area. I am hoping to find my suitcase at one of the conveyor belts. Unfortunately, it isn't there. I look around to see if I can spot anyone who has it. I don't see anyone. I ask a nearby employee if he knows where it might be. He tells me that he doesn't know anything about it. I ask if there is somewhere where I can check the status of my bag online. He directs me to a kiosk near the baggage carousel. I log into my account on the website, and my suitcase appears on the list. The bag is scheduled to arrive in Honolulu tomorrow morning. I breathe a sigh of relief. My bag is actually going to make it to San Francisco. I check the other bags in my reservation. Everything is fine. I go through the security checkpoint again. Once I reach the gate area, I see my bag. The agent is putting my suitcase on the scale. It is overweight by 2 pounds again. I am getting annoyed. Why do my bags keep getting overweight? I don't understand why this is happening to me. I am just trying to get home. I am just trying to get on this plane and get out of here. This time, I am prepared. Before I get off the plane, I remove all of the items from my suitcase and put them in the plastic bins that they came in. When I get to the agent, I tell her that I want to repack my suitcase so that I don't have to pay for the extra weight. She tells me that she can only weigh my carry-on. I tell her that I don't care. I just want my suitcase to be under the 50-pound limit. She tells me that she needs to take a picture of everything I am taking out of my suitcase. Then she takes out a tape measure and measures the length and width of each item. She adds all of the measurements together and tells me how much my bag weighs. She then prints out a ticket from her computer and gives it to me. She tells me that she will have to charge me $50 to repack my suitcase.